What's up, Bruhlie Nation? Welcome back to another gameplay commentary video. If you are watching this video, you know who TommyInnit is. However, what you might not know is that his YouTube channel is undergoing a change. At the end of 2023, Tommy was uploading weekly Minecraft Let's Plays, but over the past year, he has experimented more with his content. He's uploaded rants, scripted comedy skits, a lot of promotions for his stand-up comedy, and even 2 music videos. This change in content has been widely applauded by his audience, who appreciate the maturation of their favorite content creator as he grows into adulthood. And I could not disagree with their perspective more. To me, TommyInnit is just as immature as he's always been, if not even more so now. But before I explain why I think this way, I need to address something that you are probably thinking of. Initially, I wanted to avoid talking about his drama with Logan Paul and Dream, because I wanted my video to speak for itself, and not be tied to another creator. But the more I researched, the harder it became to ignore the elephants in the room. To be clear, this video is not a defense of Logan, Dream, or anyone Tommy has gotten into beef with in the past year. While I will criticize Tommy heavily for things related to the drama, that does not mean I think the people he was beefing with were in the right. My opinion is more like, all of these people suck and I don't sympathize with any of them. I actually like TommyInnit the most out of the creators involved in his skirmishes. But you don't need me to explain why Logan Paul's scamming people is bad. But I do need to explain why I dislike TommyInnit, because everyone I see online gives him nothing but praise. The first point I want to hit on is something that relates to what I said 2 sentences ago. While TommyInnit has been applauded for calling out creators like Logan Paul on their bad behavior, the stance is not as brave as his fans make it out to be. Not liking these creators is the popular, widely accepted opinion to hold. Logan Paul has been hated by the internet since before TommyInnit started his YouTube channel. Dream has been hated ever since he beefed with Josh, and faked his Minecraft speedrun in the same week. Because these guys have been disliked for years, Tommy's recent mockery doesn't come off as genuine distaste of their bad behavior, but as fishing for Twitter likes. I also find it interesting that Tommy was on good terms with Dream and Logan for years after most of the community turned on them. His connection with Dream is obvious, but Tommy was friendly with Logan Paul for years too. He went on Logan's podcast back in 2021, and Logan Paul leaked screenshots of Tommy trying to meet up with him throughout 2023 and early 2024. When Logan leaked these screenshots, Tommy and his fans seemingly did not understand the point Logan was trying to make, so I will explain why these screenshots prove Tommy's insincerity. There is nothing inherently wrong with calling Logan Paul out on his bad behavior, but if you are only calling him out on his bad behavior after you have been publicly and privately friendly with him for years, and when the majority of the internet turned on him years ago, then the call out comes off as disingenuous, and like you are backstabbing Logan. In the past, it was profitable for Tommy to collab with Dream and Logan, but now when it's obviously more in his interest to criticize them, guess what Tommy is doing? If Tommy were to address his criticism, he'd probably say he's been critical of Logan and Dream for a long time, and not just in the past 3 months. Tommy parodied both of them in 2023, and Tommy also spoke publicly about how he regretted going on Logan Paul's podcast.
Your impulsive interview. Was it a comfortable experience to have that interview?
That interview was hard. About 10 minutes way through, I'm like, I kind of want to leave. And then that was like, let's catch him on the spot. Let's get him to say he has a girlfriend. Let's get him to talk about sex like they wouldn't usually, so we can get the clip.
For Dream, I think this is a valid point to make. Although I think it is worth mentioning that Tommy and his fans criticized Dream for going on long tirades about Tommy and his friends, when these are only done in response to Tommy's frequent jabs at Dream. There are a lot of criticisms of Dream that you can make, but criticizing him for responding to another creator talking shit about him is not one of them. But for Logan, as Logan revealed in his screenshots, Tommy continued to act friendly to him in DMs after he made the parody video, which makes Tommy come off as two-faced. Why was Tommy still trying to collab with Logan literally the same week that he made fun of him for scamming his fans?
Logan, what's all this scam stuff? I feel like you don't need to scam any more fans.
No, crypto, you want to join me on crypto?
Why did he invite Logan to his comedy show 6 months after that? Was he planning some epic confrontation where he would force Logan Paul to address the accusations? Or does he not actually care about anything Logan did, and is only criticizing him when it is convenient for him? I also don't buy that Tommy collabed with these creators because he looked up to them, and was therefore blinded to their shortcomings. I am younger than TommyInnit is, but I never liked Logan or Dream. It wasn't because I looked out that the e-celeb I disliked irrationally was exposed for bad things down the line, but because of their long, well-documented history of controversies that millions of people, kids and adults alike, made fun of as they were happening. If Tommy was blinded to Logan and Dream's bad behavior, it was probably because of greed, and not because their intense star power charmed a young and vulnerable TommyInnit. It's also worth noting that the thing TommyInnit got mad at Logan Paul for was obsessively advertising his products when it was inappropriate to do so. For one, that's not exactly worse than scamming millions of dollars from your fans, but also, Tommy is one of the biggest shills I have encountered on YouTube. As I mentioned in the intro, he has begun a stand-up comedy career, and he promotes his shows in almost every video, regardless of if it's appropriate or not. In his serious video about Dream, he ends it by plugging his stand-up tour and a book that he's written, despite the video supposedly only being directed at Dream.
Hello, this video is a message to Dream. Yeah, as I said, I am going on tour, doing my comedy to Australia, the USA, and the UK. I also do have a new, very funny book coming out.
His video, A Very Bad Year, which is framed like a self-reflective debrief of his personal struggles in 2024, is effectively a big advertisement for his comedy show. He says that stand-up comedy saved him most of the year, and ends the video by promoting his stand-up shows.
And I'm so thankful that I found comedy, because that has really saved me most of this year. Without Steve Martin, Bo Burnham, John Mulaney, Amy Poehler, John Oliver, the whole of the current SNL cast, giving me something to dream about again, and fall in love with, and wake up in the morning for, man, I don't know where the fuck I'd be right now without them. By the way, you know I'm coming on tour already to do my live comedy. However, with all that new Christmas money you've just got yourself, it's time to get yourself a ticket.
Even if Tommy is not conscious of this, his video manipulates his audience into thinking that they need to come to his show in order to help Tommy stabilize his mental health. I don't have any problem with Tommy promoting his comedy shows in theory. Basically every YouTuber takes advertisements, whether that be for third-party companies or for their own side projects. My issue with this is that Tommy has called out other YouTubers for advertising their products. It's hypocritical to criticize Logan Paul for shilling Prime while talking about a world conflict, when you are promoting your own projects in a video that's sole purpose is to attack the reputation of another creator. Ironically, Tommy tries to get ahead of this criticism in that video, saying that he puts a lot of effort into his shows, merchandise, etc., in comparison to creators like Dream, who seemingly does not. And therefore, he should be allowed to advertise his comedy shows when he pleases.
You called me a promoter of all my other projects I do in your Reddit post too? Yeah man, are you stupid? Of course I promote all this stuff, but the difference between me and you is I actually give a shit. I put effort, my absolute best, into all these new things.
However, this is a deflection from the actual criticism to a debate over effort put into a product. Tommy says that his enemies don't care about the stuff they sell to fans. But to support this claim, he only brings up the quality of the products. By equating effort put into a product with the quality of that product, Tommy attempts to give a moral justification for why he is right and his critics are wrong, as it is respectable to be high effort while deplorable to be lazy. In reality, effort put into something does not always result in a high-quality product. In 2020, I spent a month working on an hour-long video essay about one of my favorite Minecraft YouTubers of all time, JD Oderin, and this is how that video sounded.
Who is the best Minecraft PvPer? This is a question that has been debated for ever since the game came out.
Dream's merch objectively sucks, but it's also clear that a lot of effort has gone into making those products. Dream has talked about starting his merch business from scratch, choosing to buy warehouses and hire local artists. And while I respect his effort, I still think his merch looks bad. If Tommy only wants to make fun of bad quality YouTuber products, then I would not have any issue. But he goes a step further, and morally justifies his roasts with faulty logic, and then does the same thing that he's criticizing those creators for doing. At the end of the day, Tommy's stand-up shows, as high effort as he claims they are an unnecessary product that Tommy desperately tries to convince his viewers that they need to consume. Philosophically, it's not very different from Logan Paul and KSI promoting Lunchly, except instead of a hamburger that will give you diabetes, it's a comedy show that will give you tinnitus. Most of my criticisms in this video I think are objective or have facts to back them up, and this segment is not one of them. However, because I had to watch TommyInnit's content to make this video, I think it is necessary for my healing process to verbally communicate the pain I endured watching him try to be funny so I can attempt to exercise it from my memory. Originally, I wanted to watch some of Tommy's stand-up to judge if it was actually good or not, but the only long video I could find was a re-upload of a 15-minute bit he did on a Twitch stream, and by then I already watched some of his other videos and had enough of what I saw. So I'll be talking about his video, Logan Paul Lawsuit, This is the Internet. This is the Internet is a ripoff of SNL's Weekend Update segment, with Tommy pretending to be a news reporter and joking about trending news topics.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
Live from Brighton Sunworks Studios, BN1 3A4. This is the Internet!
I imagine this video is similar in tone to the stand-up Tommy does, and at the very least, this is probably the direction he wants to take for his content. He's also already released a sequel while I was editing this video. The first thing I didn't like about This is the Internet is Tommy pausing after every punchline like he has a live studio audience and is waiting for them to laugh. He doesn't actually have an audience, so the silence makes Tommy seem like an egomaniac who thinks every joke he makes is so funny that I need to stop laughing before he can tell the next one.
Prime Hydration has gotten into a legal battle with Messi's drink company over his bottle being too much like their bottle. This betrayal has upset Logan so much though, he has booked another flight to Japan.
A lot of the jokes are just guy I don't like sucks, which goes back to the virtue signaling point I hit on at the start of the video. Tommy makes a joke that if there was an award for befriending the most groomers, he would win.
Mr. Beast broke 28 Guinness World Records while filming his new Amazon show, Beast Games. However, there is no award for accidentally befriending the most groomers. If there was though, it would probably go to me.
And while it sounds funny, I don't actually know what he's talking about. I know some of his ex-friends have been accused of sex crimes, but I don't think any of them are accused groomers except Dream, who disproved those allegations a long time ago. 3 minutes into the video, he begins a segment like he's about to make a joke, but then advertises his stand-up special, which pissed me off. He even acknowledges how shameless his plug was within the video.
TommyInnit has been very sick with the flu this week, and the only thing that would make him feel better is if you came to see his comedy tour in April and May next year. I'm hoping that plug will work on 1 or 2 idiots.
He followed that up with a segment where his friend Jack Manifold pretends to not know how a jacket works, and it wasn't that funny. My favorite joke was when he said it's crazy that Jacksepticeye was diagnosed with autism when he made 100 Happy Wheels videos, but he kind of ruined it by staring into my soul for 3 seconds after he made the joke.
Jacksepticeye was diagnosed with autism this week. The same man who made 100 Happy Wheels videos is also on the spectrum. Wow.
As I mentioned before, Tommy released part 2 of this series, so I'll briefly cover it. First off, he removed the awkward pauses at the end of each joke, at least sometimes. Near the end of the video, they return and they're even more excruciating.
Adidas Originals is collaborating with the popular video game franchise Minecraft on a range of footwear and apparel. This collaboration is helping expose more and more children to the Minecraft franchise. Sadly, the new children being exposed to the game also happen to be the ones making the shoes.
The Jack Manifold stimulus sketch was also better. It was about Jack wanting Tommy to make scat fetish videos because, quote, no one else is doing it. The actual jokes aren't very funny, even though he called in Anthpo to ghostwrite for him. They are mainly a bunch of dated references to old trending topics, and I'm pretty sure one is blatantly stolen from Twitter.
In devastating news, Keemstar, popular host of Drama Alert, age 42, has been found alive in his home in New York.
He clickbaits his drama with Dream just to advertise his comedy shows again.
Now this week, Dream versus TommyInnit was a huge drama that swept the internet, and I just want to say that here at This Is the Internet, we stand with Dream. I'm also going on tour very soon, guys, so check out TommyInnit.com to buy yourself tickets.
At one point, he does a Coke and Mentos challenge, and at that point I stopped paying attention, and started thinking about when Sabo is finally gonna quit playing and release his album with no ID. Overall, This Is the Internet is not a good series. Like I said, it's basically a rip-off Weekend Update sketch, but made by a British Zoomer who has spent too much time online. I was pretty surprised to see so many people on Twitter and in his comments praising Tommy for it, calling him unhinged and saying he wasn't holding back, when all of the jokes are pretty tame. Even the joke about accidentally befriending groomers isn't that edgy. I think making fun of pedophiles is something that most people agree is cool, and it's good that Tommy is acknowledging whatever it is that he's referring to. However, I do have one final point about Tommy's comedy, and it's a recurring joke Tommy makes where he talks about a celebrity who has done something terrible, and then follows it up by saying, but TommyInnit still got more hate for saying I get lesbians.
Convicted abuser Chris Brown guest starred on Kaisenat's stream the other day, and yet 16-year-old TommyInnit received far more backlash when all he said was, I get lesbians.
I get lesbians.
This references an old controversy Tommy had during DreamSMP. A lot of people in the comments like this joke, but honestly I found it to be kinda sad. Tommy is still so mad about some dumb, insignificant drama from almost half a decade ago that he brings it up in his videos to this day. I am going to expand on this point later, but for now keep Tommy's lasting grudge against these toxic DreamSMP fans in the back of your head. The next thing I want to talk about is Tommy's frustration with the internet. 4 months ago, Tommy released a video called YouTube's Changed. In it, he details the problems he has with modern YouTube, such as the increased commercialization of videos, many creators' obsession with views, and the 1 out of 10 system in YouTube Studio. He calls modern YouTube dystopian, and chastises his peers for prioritizing profits first and quality content second. The conclusion he comes to is that, although all of his criticisms with YouTube are valid, ultimately he still enjoys making videos because of all the good that has come from it. On the surface, this sounds like the typical modern YouTube sucks rant many creators make, but YouTube's Changed is actually what inspired me to make this video, because of how much I fundamentally disagree with it. First off, Tommy is very misleading about the 1 out of 10 system.
Another big change in the past 5 years that I've bear witness to is the out of 10 system. When I began YouTube, you check your analytics dashboard once a week and tried to get a vague idea if your channel was succeeding or doing fine or just not really growing. And now, it's smack bang at the center of the studio. It's very in your face, rewarding you when you're more popular and being a little annoyed at you when you're less.
The way he frames it is if it's a new thing YouTube has rolled out recently, when it's been a thing since last decade. One of the videos that Tommy uses as an example during this segment is from 2019. Tommy has the right to dislike this feature, but to present it as a new way YouTube is messing with its creators, when it's been a thing since he was a Hypixel Skyblock YouTuber, is ridiculous. This leads into where a lot of my criticism of Tommy's video lies, which is that nothing he's talking about is new. It has been obvious for a decade that mainstream YouTube is no longer the creative Wild West outlet it once was. Everyone from Implement to L Mills came to this conclusion back in 2018, and some even before then. The first time I felt detached from mainstream YouTube was in 2016, when they made their YouTube Rewind, and it was filled to the brim with celebrity cameos, pretty face hacks, and the most annoying trends from that year. I thought I was going crazy until I watched a video by Bobby Burns, who was able to explain why YouTube was out of touch better than my 11-year-old mind could.
It's sad to see such a focus put on subpar creation and advertising when there are so many fantastic, unique, interesting creators who deserve recognition. People who have created a real buzz and made something new and worth watching.
Now you are probably thinking, so what if YouTube has sucked for a while? Tommy still has the right to dislike it. As I have previously stated, the crux of Tommy's argument hinges on the fact that these are new changes to YouTube. Portraying YouTube as having changed their values recently makes Tommy's position more sympathetic to his audience, as opposed to YouTube having been like this for the entire duration of Tommy's career. Because if Tommy was honest about YouTube always being a profit-driven, emotionally distant corporation, he would have to admit that he was one of the biggest beneficiaries of YouTube's promotion of shit content. This is the biggest reason why Tommy's video made me so angry. For years, Tommy made low-quality, common denominator slop for little kids, and it was by no accident. Tommy purposely made his content this way because he wanted to reach the most amount of viewers possible. Tommy had no issues with this system when he was directly benefiting from it, but now the hype has died down and his views have cooled off. And all of a sudden, YouTube is this big bad corporate entity.
Tough reality is, YouTube is a business. If you're a YouTuber, you're an employee, and they want you to make them money.
At one point, Tommy talks about how he took a step back from YouTube in 2024, ceasing his typical weekly uploads.
I'm also in the midst of doing something that I never thought that I would do, which is slowing down a bit, you know, making YouTube be a part of my life less.
But, looking at his channel, I counted 40 videos in 2024 and 40 videos in 2023. Even if you exclude the 3-minute long update videos Tommy made in 2024, who actually cares that he uploaded 5 less videos than he normally does? For a lot of YouTubers I watch, they're lucky if they can release 2 videos in a year. At a certain point, I have to ask, what the fuck is Tommy even talking about? How recently does he think YouTube has changed? The past year? 2022, when the DreamSMP began to slow down in popularity? 2018, when most of YouTube caught on to what was happening? Is he talking about pre-2016? And he's nostalgic for a time when he was not a content creator? TommyInnit used a 4:3 aspect ratio in this video to invoke the nostalgic feeling of old YouTube. But you could upload widescreen videos in 2008, when Tommy would have been 4 years old. I understand what Tommy was going for from a symbolic standpoint, but how are you nostalgic for YouTube videos that came out before you were potty trained? And why are so many people taking a guy who made content 1 tier above YouTube Kids Slop for half a decade as this saving grace for modern YouTube? What has he done to prove he's better than the Preston Plays of the world? The best way to describe Tommy's video is like when you go to the comments section of a Beatles or Led Zeppelin song and see a bunch of kids saying, "I was born in the wrong generation." It's pretentious posturing to pretend like they're more mature than they actually are.
It's a climb to a mountaintop that never stops, and if you do reach the peak, there only lies depression. And I know that sounds a bit dramatic, but I've got to use my A-star in English language somewhere, alright?
My favorite part of Tommy's video is when he says that the most popular YouTubers aren't the best ones, and that Dan TDM actually is.
Were the popular kids at school the best ones? No, they were all pricks. Are the best movies the most popular ones? No, really? No. Are the best YouTubers the most popular ones? Fuck no, they're not. Dan TDM is, alright?
Don't get me wrong. I too was raised by Dan TDM and believe that he is a great option for entertaining kids. But you can count on your hands the number of gaming YouTubers with a larger subscriber count than Dan. It's ridiculous that Tommy is presenting this guy as a real, capital C, content creator. when he's as mainstream as a YouTuber can be. This is like Tommy saying, I actually think The Wild Robot was better than Inside Out 2. And when you ask him if he's seen Look Back, he tells you he didn't know Sony Animations released a movie this year. As much as Tommy complains about the popular kids on YouTube, the truth is that YouTube is still a great place to find smaller, niche creators. In my last video, I shout out over a dozen YouTubers whose content I loved in 2024, and about half of them I never watched before last year. On that list, only 5 creators have over 1 million subscribers, and only RGC World and Nick Crowley have over 2 million. Tommy, if you somehow stumble across this video, then the biggest takeaway you should have is that any criticism I have given you or will give you later on, it should be that Red Letter Media has been making videos for 2 decades, and have never fallen off in quality. The time you spent watching hate videos on yourself should have been spent watching Mike Solaska make fun of the elderly on Best of the Worst. Tommy, if you think YouTube is boring now, that is because you are a fan of boring creators. But let's get back on track. At another point in the video, Tommy says that for a while he resented YouTube, blaming the company for causing his teenage self to become obsessed with YouTube analytics.
I'm starting to feel a pretty large resentment with this company for hardwiring and instilling in a 15-year-old me that yes, you need to be popular. During the lockdown, I checked my sub count first thing every morning, and if it was under 10,000 that day, I'd feel sad. There was one point where if my video got only a mere 5 million views in the day, instead of 8 million, there'd be huge red down arrows in my dashboard, and I'd feel shit.
I do think Tommy has a right to regret his past mindset, but I disagree that YouTube and his immaturity is to blame for it. As I said before, I am younger than Tommy, but after about a year of doing YouTube as a hobby, I no longer cared about analytics and uploaded whatever I wanted to. It may not have gotten me the most views, or any views really, but I chose to make content that I enjoyed making, rather than force myself to make videos I disliked. There are hundreds of other teenagers who stuck to their niche instead of chasing YouTube success, and there are also a few kids who openly admit to only doing YouTube for the money. Tommy was not taken advantage of by greedy YouTube executives, looking to use a kid's naivety to their advantage. He saw an opportunity to become the biggest Minecraft YouTuber in his country in exchange for some of his creative freedom, and he took it. 5 years later, he regrets his decision. Next, I want to talk about a video TommyInnit released shortly after YouTube's changed, called The Internet's Getting Worse. This is a music video, and it has a very similar message to YouTube's changed, but with more pretentious stylization. The 4:3 aspect ratio returns. He credits the song under his actual name instead of his gamer tag, and there's a bunch of depressing, flashing text I don't have much to say about. It does make sense that his favorite SMP livestream was a talent show. I preferred when Based Beefy joined, but to each their own.
You're not picking up any sound, it's only you and your loud ass.
That's what I'm saying!
I'm trying to help you!
Help! Turn up your mic, we can't hear. Is this better?
In the lyrics, Tommy denounces the influencers who sell out in their videos, and I already talked about how that's ironic. He also pauses the song to complain about how the R slur is back. And like Tommy's joke about lesbians, I will bring this up later.
Why the arse back? You know,
The video is very obviously inspired by Bo Burnham and his work. Tommy literally admits this himself in one of the flashing texts. Honestly, I don't care about Tommy ripping off Bo, SNL, or anyone else. I've blatantly ripped off my favorite creators in some of my videos. But I bring this up because I remember watching Bo Burnham's songs when I was younger, and wanted to see how the two compared. I rewatched Bo's song Art is Dead, as I thought that it had a very similar vibe to what Tommy was trying to go for. Additionally, Bo wrote this song when he was 20, the same age Tommy is now. And as he was transitioning from YouTuber to comedian like Tommy is currently doing, after listening to the two songs, I noticed one major difference between them, besides the huge talent gap. While Art is Dead is a critique of the entertainment industry, he attacks the industry by attacking himself. In the first verse, Bo admits that he is a pretentious kid who is obsessed with people's attention, and got lucky that enough people did not find him annoying. In the second verse, he reflects on how the money he's making off of his shows would be better spent anywhere else. The song is effective not because he's taking a stand against the industry, but because he is taking a stand against himself and the role he plays in maintaining the industry. He acknowledges that he serves as a moneymaker for businessmen, but understands that it was his choices in life that led him to this point. He was the one who wanted his name in lights, not his producers. But with Tommy's song, along with all of his serious videos, all of this accountability is absent. He can't be to blame for the current situation he finds himself in. It must be the big bad company, or the grifters he surrounded himself with for years. If it was him, then it was because he was a young, innocent kid who did not understand what he was getting into. I can't bring myself to feel any sympathy for Tommy, when it was his own choices that have led him to his current state of dissatisfaction, and he is unwilling to acknowledge that he shares any responsibility for this. The last piece of text that Tommy flashes on screen asks how Tommy could have possibly ended up addicted to YouTube analytics. To answer his question, money.
Conductor, we have a problem. Conductor, we have a problem.
But I'm not done yet. I have established that Tommy seems to regret a lot of his old videos. But that makes me wonder, what videos does he want to make? SNL ripoffs with the occasional Bo Burnham tribute thrown in? Maybe, but I suspect Tommy might want something else. I noticed a lot of his recent gaming videos are themed around Tommy being this offensive personality, in comparison to the wholesome creators he collabs with. Some recent examples include, I turned LD Shadow Lady into an offensive rapper, I made 18+ jokes on a family-friendly server, and I turned Mumbo offensive. I watched some of these videos to see how offensive they were, and as I expected, they were pretty tame.
Traking around, traking no business, here with Lil Dollar, and you know he is in this. Hey, you wanna come at me, you wanna cancel me, well you can't, cause I'm traking.
The edgiest joke in the LD Shadow Lady video is about how Mumbo Jumbo apparently said he supported the gender wage gap.
Mumbo Jumbo hates the wage gap. No, sorry, loves it.
I'm sorry?
That's what I'm sorry too that I have to break this to you.
To give Tommy some credit, this joke is about on par with the edginess of this classic clip from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
A recent report from the Union of Maritime Workers found that male employees still make 30% more than their female counterparts.
Way to go, guys! Let's shoot for 40!
So congrats Tommy for being as edgy as the Disney Channel. Also, if you are wondering, there is actually not an advertisement for Tommy's stand-up show in this video. Instead, there is an advertisement for the browser Opera GX. Fun fact, Opera GX is the browser that automatically installed on my friend Will's computer when he downloaded a computer virus. So Tommy's promoting a real ethical product here.
It says Opera GX, download it. I don't know why you downloaded Opera.
Opera's malware, apparently.
So, I think another thing that these things do is they just, like, they get, like, commissions from downloading Opera GX? I don't know.
But what is my point here? Tommy wants to appear as an offensive, risk-taking comedian to his fans when he isn't one. But why isn't Tommy actually edgy? Obviously, it's because of his audience. DreamSMP fans were notorious for being sensitive to any joke that could be considered edgy. Remember that lesbian joke TommyInnit is still mad about? Tommy's anger can be explained by him recognizing the joke is pretty tame, but believing that he couldn't defend it publicly since it would have lost him a portion of his fanbase. But you would think that Tommy's fans have chilled out over the years, right? Well, in December of 2024, Tommy made a series of jokes about the French that triggered some people on the Everything app. To be fair, most of Tommy's fans actually defended him. But still, if making fun of French people is enough to get a hate thread made on you, I can't imagine what would happen if Tommy tried to make a joke that was actually edgy. Look at how Dream was eaten alive by MCYT for using the R word.
I don't know if the French community will ever forgive TommyInnit, but honestly, he so has that coming. That's his fish to fry. Like, I'm sorry. Like, bruh, like what the fuck do you think was gonna happen?
I also want to bring up Tommy's admiration for edgy YouTubers. He has admitted that two of his favorite YouTubers are JSlat and Fitz, who are known for being offensive. Like SNL and Bo Burnham, both creators have influenced Tommy's content. Schlatt's influence is abundantly clear and they are frequent collaborators, while Fitz's influence is less noticeable but still apparent. For one, this whole Making Minecraft offensive arc is similar to how Fitz and his friends used to market their videos, but also, the Wii Shop music Tommy uses to begin his videos was something Fitz did.
Oh, LD Shadow Hades!
If Tommy was inspired by the stylistic choices of Fitz, then he should have at least been entertained by his comedy, as that was the main draw of Fitz's videos. But that's where a contradiction comes in, because Fitz's videos are genuinely edgy. He is infamously a huge defender of the R-word, and as I established, Tommy is a huge opponent of the R-word. He literally paused his song to rant about it. To me, it seems pretty weird that Tommy is, or at least was, a huge fan of Fitz when he should be offended by his comedy if he was keeping his morals consistent. It's not like Fitz ever apologized for his edginess, or he started making offensive jokes after he blew up for unrelated reasons. Fitz's merch name was literally offensive. I don't care whether Tommy is or is not genuinely offended by the R-word, but I don't understand how he can act so offended by it, while one of his favorite YouTubers is its strongest soldier.
Basically, if you're one of my subscribers, Dream has called you a slur.
That was fucking retarded.
Yes, it was a little bit retarded.
Yeah.
It's also worth noting that, while Jay Schlatt does not use the R-word, he isn't afraid to make disabled people the butt of his joke. Back in 2020, when Tommy was fanboying over Jay Schlatt hard, Schlatt would often make fun of people with Parkinson's by exaggerating the way they uncontrollably shake around. I understand that jokes are subjective, and people may be offended by some things and excuse others, but I think it's silly to think that saying one mean word is more offensive to disabled people than doing whatever this is.
That's so fucked up. Get out of here. I did not search Parkinson's funny.
The easiest way to explain the cognitive dissonance is that Tommy's politically correct image is a grift. He does not really care about the R-word or offensive humor, but he acts like he does because that's what a vocal part of his audience wants him to believe. The videos where he pretends to be offensive are him living out his fantasy of making content like Fitz. Except instead of swagger souls to back him up, he has a very confused LD Shadow Lady, and he can't say anything too offensive because he's still TommyInnit. And his main target demographics are teenage girls and elementary schoolers. It's all but confirmed that Dream was grifting his audience back in the day, so I don't think it is out of the realm of possibility that Tommy shares Dream's true feelings. He just did not want to be the first DreamSMPer to cross the line from left-wing grifter to right-wing grifter. However, I should acknowledge the other possibility, which is that TommyInnit is genuinely politically correct. His videos marked as offensive are where he thinks the line is for dark humor, and he has justifications for supporting Jay Schlatt and Fitz despite their overt edginess. Just because I can't come up with an explanation as to why Tommy is a fan of Fitz does not mean that Tommy does not have one. But honestly, I can think of a reasonable explanation for why Tommy is offended by the existence of the R-word, but enjoys Schlatt and Fitz's offensive humor. Ultimately, I think Tommy is either a grifter who wants to make edgy jokes but holds back, or he is just really stupid. And I also fundamentally disagree with him on what makes a joke edgy. Either way, what Tommy says and what Tommy does do not add up. Throughout this video, I have repeatedly explained how Tommy has been inconsistent and insincere, and this is the best explanation I can come up with as to why Tommy acts this way. Tommy wants to promote this image of himself as an offensive comedian, but he can't fully commit because he will scare away some of his audience. So he compensates by leaning hard in the other direction, resulting in his actions contradicting his beliefs. He criticizes Logan Paul and Dream for shilling shit products when he is guilty of the same behavior. He bashes the commercialized YouTube algorithm that he used to gain 15 million subscribers. He publicly denounces the R-word and claims anyone who uses it is offending mentally disabled people, and then turns on a Fitz video and claps his hands like a fucking seal. I find TommyInnit's current existence on the internet contradictory, disingenuous, and pathetic. There were so many funny, interesting Hypixel creators back in 2019. I am seriously disappointed that TommyInnit ended up becoming the most successful. However, I have one more thing I want to talk about. And strap in, because I saved the most controversial for last. While making this video, I stumbled upon this deleted tweet by the YouTuber Gerg, who claimed that Tommy was dancing Technoblade's corpse around for money. As people on the Everything app were quick to point out, Gerg's assertion was wildly inaccurate. The title literally says that Tommy is raising money for charity in Technoblade's name. The video itself is a collection of clips from a charity livestream Tommy did with Technoblade's father for Sarcoma UK, and you can clearly see Tommy's fans donating as the livestream goes on. So, why is there still time left in the video? First off, I want to clarify that I think it is great that Tommy does charity live streams for Sarcoma UK. Tommy seems to genuinely care about raising money. Technoblade's dad is very active in raising charity money, and I am not accusing them of not donating the money from the livestream or something like that. I have no problems with the original livestream Tommy did. However, what Tommy fails to address is if the revenue made from the cut down version for YouTube is also going to charity. I watched this video twice, and he never mentions it at the start, at the end, or anywhere in the middle. I checked the first and last 10 minutes of the VOD to see if Tommy talked about it there, and he did not. The description does have a link to Sarcoma UK so Tommy's fans can donate directly, but there's nothing that says where the revenue from the video is going to. There is also no pinned comment, tweet, Instagram post, or anything that says where the revenue is going. What the video does have, however, is an advertisement for Tommy's stand-up show.
But before I get into it, I actually have a bit of an announcement. For the San Francisco show of the TommyInnit Survival Tour, I will be joined by Mr. Techno Dad himself. That's right, he's going to be the special guest for that show, and it's going to be wicked. The show, if you don't know, is 30 minutes of stand-up comedy and then a full hour with the special guest teaching them how to survive. It's going to be wicked and so fun, and man, it is a true honor to do it with Mr. Techno Dad. You can get yourself tickets at TommyInnit.com, and I well hope to see you there.
This is where I have a problem with Tommy. When you make a highlights video off of a charity livestream, and specifically market that video as raising money for charity, any money made from that video should also be given to charity. Otherwise, you are literally exploiting a charity event for personal profit. Tommy not only never says that he is giving the money made to charity, so I can only assume he didn't, but he places an advertisement for his stand-up show at the start of the video. That is a major conflict of interest that throws into question why Tommy even made highlights of this stream. You could rationalize it by arguing that because Technoblade's father will be at one of the shows, it was relevant to bring up. Maybe I could excuse it if it was casually brought up during the video, but it's a full pre-recorded segment that advertises the entire tour, not just the event of Technodad. I don't think it is unreasonable to think Tommy should have A. Donated all the revenue made from the livestream, which includes the highlights and VOD re-upload to Sarcoma UK, and B. Should not have advertised his own unrelated projects within the video. When other YouTubers have made tributes to Technoblade, they will either say they are donating the video's revenue to charity, or turn off monetization on their video, typically by using a copyrighted song so the video gets claimed. What I have not seen anyone do is advertise their own fucking stand-up comedy show at the 1 minute mark. I can't be the only one who thinks that is insane. The top comment on Tommy's video is a 100 Turkish lira super chat, which is equal to 2.8 USD, and not even this guy knows where the fuck his money is going. For as angry as I've been in this section, I understand that this is probably a big misunderstanding. I think it is very unlikely TommyInnit was purposely making money off of Technoblade. What most likely happened is that he wanted to make highlights of the stream for people who missed it while it was live, and it simply never occurred to him to turn off monetization. He also threw in the advertisement for his show without thinking about it too much. For all I know, he could have actually donated the revenue from the video, and did not think it was worth mentioning publicly, and he could still donate the money from it after the fact. If he does do that, then I'll add an update in the description or pinned comment of this video. But as it stands now, I cannot believe that no one has noticed that the video called Raising Money for Technoblade is not Raising Money for Technoblade. That's about all I have to say. If this was the first video of mine you watched, you should probably not subscribe and go back to watching a Cheeto or something. The next video I plan on uploading to this channel is a 20-minute long cinematic montage of the old Minecraft PvP event United UHC. So stick around if that sounds interesting to you. I hope you all have a happy President's Day, and I will see you in the next video.